This week, your Avengers 4 ideas, My Hero Academia goes Hollywood, and Marguerite Bennet takes us inside Power Rangers. Check it out. It's going down on Previews World Weekly right now. What's up, Previews World, and happy Halloween. Welcome to Previews World Weekly. I am one of your hosts, Troy Jeffrey Allen.
And I'm Thea, and we are here every week to remind you guys to stop at a comic shop and get involved in the world of comics.
Yeah. You look a little bit different today, Thea.
I do.
What's up?
I don't, but I do. I guess I look different compared to what I usually wear
What you
here.
usually wear, yeah.
But this is actually kind of par for the course for me as a human being. But yes, Halloween time.
Right.
Halloween wear.
A little celebration. We kind of we did our Halloween episode last week.
Yeah.
But it is actually technically Halloween today,
yes.
so we decided to dress up for the occasion. I'm going as the working class, I guess. As our editor Johnny pointed out. But you are, this is commemorating Sabrina, or just happen to have something similar?
Yes, no, absolutely. I've been watching Sabrina, so I was like, hey, we'll pull this out of the closet.
Yeah.
The old closet cosplay.
Yeah, why not? Nothing wrong with that. And speaking of cosplay, cosplayer Anna Mia is here, and she's going to show us what's at comic shops this week.
What's up, Previews World? Mia here, and I'm going to give you a look at some of the new titles in stores this week. Here's what's at comic shops. Is that it? No way. Your local comic shop has something for every type of customer. So stop at a comic shop today, and I'll see you back here next week.
There's always cool stuff coming out every week at your local comic shop. I'm looking forward to the Undertaker hardcover graphic novel from Boom Studios. Boom's been doing a lot of WWE stuff where they're trying to get into the narrative of the gimmicks of these characters, and there's no better gimmick than the Undertaker. And they're doing this kind of hip-hop family tree, X-Men Grand Design history of Mark Calloway. I'll use his Christian name, the Undertaker. So you're really getting the fictional version of who this character is. I don't know how familiar you are with any of this stuff, but his twin brother, his twin brother Kane, and how they burnt down his family's house, and Paul Bearer and all that other stuff. So if you're a '90s kid who was in the WWE, you should probably pick this up. But what are you looking forward to this week?
I'm looking forward to the Maestro's trade paperback.
Oh, yeah.
So this collects issues 1 through 7, and it's from Image. It's beautiful stuff. And it follows the Maestro's banished son, who's an Orlando-born millennial, and he's from Earth, obviously, and he's supposed to inherit this Wizard King's throne, along with a spell that turns its user into God.
Nice.
Not a god.
God.
God, like G-O-D.
Big G.
The big G, that guy. And this is after his father and the entire royal family have been murdered.
Oh, okay.
So it's a really cool storyline, beautiful artwork, really cool book.
Yeah, no, Steve Scrolls, I've always loved his artwork.
Yeah.
And actually, I'm glad you reminded me about the Matrix thing, because I completely forgot about that. That's really awesome. Another one for me is Britannia, because we keep going back and forth about this. It's the last issue of this particular chapter in that series by Peter Milligan. It's called Lost Eagles Rome. The thing I love about this book is you get a lot of bang for your buck. So not only do you get an actual comic story, but at the end of it, you get a bit of a history of how these things connect. So the idea here is that it basically takes place in Rome. And we're pretty much following the world's first detective. And he works for the Roman Empire. And it's cool because he's trying to solve murder mysteries in a world where everyone kind of blames everything on the gods.
Of course.
But of course there's an element of corruption that really is at hand at everything. And his Watson at this point is a female gladiator. that he actually, like the last book that they did, because this is part of a trilogy, at this point it's part of a trilogy. The last book they did, he pretty much solved the mystery with her, and now she's helping him out to solve another mystery for the Roman Empire.
Cool.
Yeah, I love Britannia. It's been a consistently good, entertaining read. It's always a solid 4 issues, and you're done. So it's great.
A compact story.
Yeah, a very compact story, very quick read, but also you just get a nice history lesson. Like the first one had a bit about the witches of Rome. You know, just like really neat stuff like that. And it's also a Valiant book, and so it ties into the larger Valiant universe, but you don't have to know anything about Valiant to read it. What else are you looking forward to?
Stranger Things.
Oh yeah.
So the comic they've got going right now, it's Dark Horse, and it's the stuff that you were really wondering about from season 1. So it's Will's unseen journey through the Upside Down and how he makes it through. And you're basically getting to finally see what he's dealing with down there, like running from the Demogorgon and all that stuff. And I really love in this book because it comes in a whole load of gorgeous variant covers. Like the artwork on the front of these things is beauteous. And I'm a trade paperback person. I like to get a chunk of story. But this is one that I would probably start collecting just for the artwork. It's just beautiful stuff.
Now there's one of the first issue and in this issue have kind of like I don't know if a lot of people are familiar with Drew Struzan. He did Star Wars posters, he did Indiana Jones posters, Back to the Future, the really iconic Back to the Future poster. And like each issue has like a cover that looks kind of like a Drew Struzan image. So I love it, absolutely love that. Some other cool stuff to check out this week. There's Emma Frost from Marvel Comics. It's part of their X-Men Black series of one-shots. They did one with Juggernaut, they're doing one with Magneto, and now Emma Frost, who actually has turned out to be one of my favorite X-Men in the last couple of years.
It's interesting.
Yeah, she's just mean,
right?
But in a very amusing way.
Yes,
yeah,
for sure.
And each variant cover, this book has a variant cover for each one, and it's done by like pretty much all the best, what we used to call bad girl artists in the 90s. So it's Terry Dodson, it's J. Scott Campbell, Salvador LaRocca, and the interiors are Chris Bacalo. So you're really getting a lot of like Marvel talent from like for about like 10 years away, like 10 years back, but they're still the top of their game. It just looks gorgeous. It's just a gorgeous looking book, and I love Emma. Emma Frost is always a fun read. And also Drowned Earth from DC Comics, which is, I really feel Aquaman finally getting the crossover he deserves. Yeah. Because this book is essentially Wonder Woman and Aquaman have ticked off the sea gods, the ancient sea gods, and now they've like pretty much like come back to like, you know, like to get vengeance on them, and the entire planet has to suffer, and these sea gods are in cahoots with the aliens, and it's just like, you know, you have these two characters who are royalty in some way, shape, or form, and you would imagine that their kingdoms, their individual kingdoms, have ticked off somebody at some point in time. Yeah. So it's really cool to see like a crossover event that kind of like pulls them both in, and also forces the Justice League to get involved. So check out Drowned Earth. The Prelude book came out like about a week ago, so that's still available at your local comic shop. And it comes with 2 variant covers, and I believe it's cover B by Francis Manapool. It's actually just gorgeous. It's just got great colors on it. It just looks really cool. It just looks alive. I love it. And you can find out more this week of what's in comic shops. Just head on over to PREVIEWSworld.com, new releases, and you'll get a full rundown of comics, graphic novels, toys, all that stuff. And now, speaking of stuff that's going on this week, we're going to talk a little bit about the news and see what happened in the comic industry these last 7 days.
Yeah, once again, a whole load of new announcements, a whole load of cool stuff coming out. First up, we have the West Coast Avengers meet Jimmy Kimmel. So the West Coast Avengers are headed to primetime, at least in the Marvel Universe. We have a really cool new variant cover from David Nakayama on this West Coast Avengers #4. And it pictures late-night host Jimmy Kimmel front and center with the superhero team. And it pays homage to Avengers #239, which saw that team visit host David Letterman. So they're making a little bit of a throwback to the hanging out on TV with the real-life host thing. And the plot of this is pretty cool. It's close encounters of the very large and destructive kind as the West Coast Avengers try to save the day from B-movie monster-sized threats roaming Los Angeles. So this is going to be out November 21st. Next up, we have a D&D miniseries. So IDW returns to the Forgotten Realms with Dungeons & Dragons: A Darkened Wish. So this is a 5-issue miniseries, and it's the creative team of B. Dave Walters and Tess Fowler, and it follows a young wizard, Helene, as she and her friends journey from the island of Mintarn to unimagined adventures as years of peace come to an end at the hands of a threat no one saw coming. So beyond this, the return of legendary heroes is also teased for the story. That's going to launch February of 2019. Next, we have a really cool Batman Damned variant. So DC Comics artist and co-publisher Jim Lee took to Twitter last week to unveil his variant cover for Batman Damned #2. It's this gorgeous pen and ink drawing, black and white, beautiful work, as usual. And this plot is also pretty sweet as Batman's descent into the madness of Gotham City's decadent underbelly continues. He must try to exorcise some of his demons. And who better to help him than the demon, Etrigan himself. So keep an eye out for that very soon. Next up, My Hero Academia is going to be adapted for a live-action film. The manga series has already been adapted into an anime series as well as an animated feature film that was released this year. And Legendary Entertainment has announced that it's going to produce the live-action version. We've got Alex Garcia of Godzilla renown and Jay Ashenfelter, who was associate producer on Pacific Rim Uprising. They're going to be overseeing it. And though there aren't any dates or any of the cast announced yet, keep an eye on this. If you love the manga or the anime, it's probably going to be pretty cool. I think they're stepping up their game a little on this. There have been a lot of anime released as live-action stuff recently, and a lot of disappointment has followed it. So it's looking like they're taking a little more time with this one. And don't forget to stay on top of this series with all the volumes available at your local comic shop.
I trust Legendary.
Yeah, same. Last but not least, Power Rangers issue 31 has sold out. So created by Haim Saban and launched in '93, the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers franchise is celebrating a milestone anniversary with its 25th season on the air this year. And Boom Studios, under license with Hasbro, announced that their issue 31 sold out at the distributor level. So this is seriously still popular, and it's great.
Right.
It's so awesome that it has lasted this long. This has the new series creative team of award-winning writer Marguerite Bennet and artist Simone DeMeo. And an all-star team of Power Rangers are drawn together from across time and space to combat a never-before-seen evil. As they fight to prove themselves and each other that they have what it takes to survive in a dangerous new environment, these iconic Power Rangers must defeat the onslaught of an unfamiliar, terrifying new villain. New villains? Whew! And so, in order to meet the demand, a second printing variant with an all-new cover by Jamal Campbell will arrive in stores on November 21st. So keep an eye out for that if you are a Power Rangers fan. Obviously, this thing is going like hotcakes. Pick it up.
But yeah, I feel like Boom Studios' flagship title is actually Power Rangers at this point. Like, you know, they also have the WWE stuff, but it seems like the thing that's always at the top of the list every year, every month in terms of sales is actually Power Rangers. I actually had a chance to talk to Marguerite Bennet at Baltimore Comic-Con, and we're going to show you guys that interview later on in the show. But like her enthusiasm, I think I mentioned this before, is very infectious. So your pitch was good, but when you hear her talk about it, it's like, oh,
You're really
this is really good. So stay tuned to that. That's going to be at the end of the show. Also out this week, or something that was on the website this week, was a time-lapse video of Rick Baker, who's a makeup effects artist. He's doing a Joker statue that's out this week, and we're going to show you that in the Toy Chest segment later on. But first, take a look at this video and discover Rick Baker's process, and we'll come back and talk about it afterwards. I think the interesting thing about this is, like, if you're not familiar with Rick Baker, this is the guy who I've been watching. You know, it's Halloween, which is another reason this is great to highlight. And so, like, I've been watching Thriller because it's Halloween, Michael Jackson's Thriller, and he did the werewolf effects for that movie. And the reason he got hired from that because he did John Landis's American Werewolf in London. He's also the guy who gave us Gremlins. He did creature effects for Star Wars, won an Academy Award for that. You know, so I mean, he's like a very important figure. He's kind of a creative genius, actually.
Absolutely.
And this, you know, that statue is like, it's very much done in like, it's very much from his perspective. Like, you know, like he has a very particular style, and you can see it when you're looking at it if you know what to look for. So, very cool. Not everything's $1,000 at comic shops this week. There's a few other smaller ticket items that like are available to you. So we're going to take a look at some of those in the Toys and Statues of PREVIEWSworld's toy chest. So last week we did a Get Graphic featuring Umbrella Academy, which is by Gerard Way, and it just so happens that we also have this week a Batman and Joker, two statues from DC Collectibles that are designed by Gerard Way, which I think is kind of interesting because he typically doesn't. I don't think he's ever drawn any of the comics he's worked on. But this particular version, like, is just very much him if you're familiar with his body work.
Absolutely. Like, it's a very specific style. You can look at it and be like, yeah, that's got that whole thing going for it.
Yeah, yeah. Like,
it's definitely
Gerard
Way.
Yeah, I think it's really cool. And we're actually going to give that away this week.
Yeah, so we don't actually have one in the studio, but we are going to be giving away the black and white Gerard Way Joker. And we want you guys to comment below, Facebook, YouTube, wherever you're watching. Let us know what your favorite interpretation of the Joker is, be it from the comics, from film, TV, whatever.
It's Mark Hamill.
We'll pick one of you guys. Entries available until Friday at noon, and one of you could win one of these.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And so earlier we were talking a little bit about like Sabrina, right? And like how you were the embodiment of, what is it? What is the Weird Sisters?
The Weird Sisters.
The Weird Sisters, okay. And so sure enough, you pointed out to me actually the other day that like the opening sequence for Sabrina, or for the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, actually features artwork by Robert Hack, the actual artist behind the comic book, The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. So we just wanted to highlight this. Normally we do trailers in this segment, but I figured this was pretty cool to check out, so check it out.
My immediate first reaction to this show was that you can really see the Archie influence. I mean, it's even in there in the opening credits, but
right.
You can really feel it throughout the show just visually, and I love that.
Yeah.
I love that they're really trying to get it linked up with the comics.
Well, you mentioned earlier that the show has some of the design of the show is like kind of like, I guess, Art Deco. I think I'm using the right term. I can't remember, but it's retro, basically.
Yeah, it's very retro.
And like, you know, Archie is a character from the 40s. Like, you know, like, I mean, like that element is kind of like still there, even though there's aspects of it that are also modern.
Absolutely.
Like they really play with the timeline of the show to kind of like find something right in the middle.
The one thing I really noticed was the fact that nobody has a modern car.
Right. Yeah.
They are all old school cars, and like very visually cool cars. So that was something I was like,
yeah, I think it's cool that like, I mean, I like in general all the stuff that Archie's doing with like their line, and like this is based off the comic.
Yeah.
But like previous to this, you know, Sabrina was largely a jokey, you know, one joke per page type of comic, and
lighthearted.
Right, very lighthearted, and even the Melissa Joan Hart TV show was very much in that vein.
Yes.
So like for them to like anchor it aggressively to like horror,
Yes.
you know, and do a dramatization of this character, I think is really cool. And of course, this is in line with the Riverdale show on CW and all that stuff. And I guess it's part of an expanded universe. Are there mentions of Riverdale? I've only seen one episode. So.
They do mention Riverdale.
Okay, cool, awesome. Yeah, I just think it's really cool. And if you are into the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, there's actually a dollar comic that's going to reprint the #1 issue by Robert Hack and Roberto Aguirre-Sacasa, I hope I'm saying that right, who's actually happens to be the showrunner. He's actually been in comics for a while, but he's also very much a TV guy. And the #1 book is actually hitting comic shops next week for $1. So you can pick it up, check it out, see if you like it. If you like the TV show, you're more than likely will enjoy that. So on that note, we're going to kick it over to Social Swamp, and you're going to tell us some of the people's Avengers 4 reactions. Well, not Avengers 4. Nobody saw Avengers 4 yet.
Right.
But your people's reactions to the Kevin Feige announcement last week, and or non-announcement last week, and a few other things. People's favorite horror books as well. So let's get into it.
So about midweek last week, we asked you guys what you thought the new Avengers title might be for the new movie coming out, and we got some pretty cool responses. We have Lewis Gale saying it's Avengers Annihilation.
I'm going to say something about that in a second, but go ahead.
Tamlin Kent said, honestly, if this is the last bout of the original Avengers, Earth's Mightiest Heroes.
I like that one. That's a good one.
Solid title.
Yeah.
Thief of Hearts said The Quest for Peace. I mean, fair enough.
Okay.
And Keith Allen Morgan said Avengers Sweeping Up. Personal favorite? We got Tavis Miller with Back to the Future 4.
I love that, actually. And I mean, I'm not sure if he was being sarcastic about that, but if it resembles Back to the Future at all, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
Everyone keeps saying time travel is going to be a big part of it.
I feel like it's inevitable.
It's inevitable. And if they did something like Back to the Future 2, where it's basically like the characters crisscrossing each other in alternate timelines and trying to avoid each other, I would love that. I would eat it up. I wouldn't even care. You know, like
fan service.
Yeah, fan service. You know, who cares if it gets retconned? I don't care.
Whatever. Most of it does eventually anyway, in whatever medium comes out the next decade, right?
Avengers Annihilation. People, I saw in the comments, because I have to moderate these things, and like I'm looking at people talking, people were swearing up and down that the movie was called Avengers Annihilation, and I think it's someone online on some YouTube channel or something like that
made mention, and now it's
said
just
that like they had intimate knowledge of the production.
Ay.
It's not Avengers Annihilation, because I saw people like slap fighting each other in the comments about this, like, it's not that, bro, and he's like, it is, bro, you're an idiot. It's not Annihilation, guys.
Breathe.
Although I like Earth's Mightiest Heroes, I think that's nice as well.
Yeah, it's a solid title.
Yeah. So, but fingers crossed it's Back to the Future 2-ish. I'd be down for that. What else we got?
So we also asked you guys what your favorite horror comics are. Josh Simons told us that he really enjoys the current Justice League Dark run by James Tynion. And Aaron Orenstein said Nocturnals by Dan Brereton is what he's into. Kevin Doolittle said he enjoys the Sandman issue entitled 24 Hours with Dr. Destiny in a Diner. Nick Hart said that anything by Junji Ito, but especially Uzumaki or his Fragments of Horror collection. And, of course, Hellraiser.
Hellraiser, yep.
Classic.
Yeah.
Clive Barker is great.
Oh, God. I have a memory of seeing Hellraiser when I was probably like 7. When I probably should not have seen it. Yeah. Right. Interesting way to get introduced to bondage. So anyway, we had a few cool ones. I don't know if you had a horror pick that you want to talk about
Not
for this week.
particularly.
I know that, typically you're into supernatural stuff. You did Exorcisters last week.
Yes.
So you're all caught up because everything you picked last week was supernatural.
Yep.
So now I need to catch up to you. So I actually brought some stuff from my own personal collection.
Oh, boy.
Because I wanted to talk about these, because you guys should be reading some of this stuff. So first up, should check out Semi-Automagic from Dark Horse Comics. It's from Alex DeCampi and Jerry Ordway. Jerry Ordway was actually a really well-known Superman artist for a very long time. And as far as I know, this is the first time he's ever done anything supernatural, but it really fits. And it's basically she's basically the main character is Alice Creed, and she's a professor, and in a lot of ways she's kind of like the occult Indiana Jones.
Cool.
And the idea here is that but she's a modern interpretation of it. So she does a lot of stuff that kind of marries technology with the supernatural. And it's just a very pulp, very simple concept. Very short book, originally presented in Dark Horse Presents. Also, just to throw this out here, ALEISTER and ADOLF. If you guys are familiar with Aleister Crowley at all, an actual supernatural figure in the real world.
Yeah.
This is actually a book by Douglas Rushkoff. I got to interview Douglas Rushkoff back in New York Comic Con 2 years ago, and he talked about this book. Basically, it's about the real life event of Aleister Crowley working with the government to kind of find a weapon to stop Adolf Hitler during World War II, and how we all end up paying for it. And I won't give it away, but the ending, when I got to the end of the book, I was like, oh wow. It's one of those things.
Cool.
Also, Nancy in Hell, which I will simply describe as Buffy for the metal crowd. And this one is out of print, but I swear you guys need to find this. And Marvel, please reprint this. This is Thor Vikings, and it's by Garth Ennis and Glenn Fabry, who are 2/3 of the Preacher team.
Oh.
And I'll just give you a soft pitch for this because I know we're short on time with this. But the gist of it is that a group of Vikings settle into this small village. They do what Vikings do, right? And one of the village's sorcerers curses them to set sail 1,000 years on sea. And when they dock in modern day New York.
Huh.
And their first line of defense is the Avengers, but they get wiped out. And the only people left are Thor and Doctor Strange.
Oh, man.
And it's pretty much a magic versus magic battle. It is, if you've read Preacher, this was a Max title, so it's actually a mature book. But if you've read Preacher, you kind of know what to expect from Garth Ennis.
Yeah.
And I wish they would make this into a movie. Definitely check those out. And on that note, we were talking earlier about Marguerite Bennet. Now, speaking of supernatural, she has a book called Animosity, which I think you can consider a supernatural book,
Yeah.
right? And Marguerite Bennet is also responsible for Mighty Morphin Power Rangers number 31, and which we mentioned earlier has sold out from the distributor, but you can still check it out. Hopefully your comic shop has it on the shelf right now. But I had a chance to sit down with Marguerite and talk to her a little bit about Shattered Grid, which is the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers crossover that preceded her run. And so she's going to go ahead and give you a soft pitch on the story and talk a little bit about how she got into comics. It's actually a really cool interview. It was actually one of my favorites from Baltimore, so
Awesome.
check it out.
Hey Previews World, Troy Jeffrey Allen here at Baltimore Comic Con, and I'm sitting next to Marguerite Bennet. Now you know her from Animosity. She also did DC Bombshells. She's currently the writer of Power Rangers, and you just took over after a major event.
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm very fortunate that I get to work with Kyle Higgins, who did the first 30 issues of Power Rangers, and he's been my friend since right before I was actually published in comics, and so getting to work with someone that I've been friends with for so long and trust so much was just really a gift.
So what is that like? Everything's in after Shattered Grid, everything's in shambles.
Yeah.
And you come back in, you're gonna fix everything, right?
Fix might be a polite word. I want to go deeper into the chaos, to be quite honest. And yeah, and so our very first issue just came out 2 days ago, and we're going to this place, this void, where there's no morphin grid. This is a place that is aberrant and abhorrent and should not exist. It's the most crucial rule of creation, is that every place has contact with this energy that gives life and hope to the universe, and this is a place that was created without it, and it is a wrong world.
Oh, okay.
And so now it's in the aftermath of Shattered Grid, all the drive and the pressure and the mission that these people had just to survive and to help their friends is gone. You're in this hell of a world. There's no way home, and all of your mission is gone. So
Wow.
what do you do now? What do you become?
You should write solicitations.
Oh.
That was pretty great. So it'd be like, but you're dealing with a mishmash of Power Rangers in
Yeah,
this one. Like, this is an established team. This is kind of like, I don't want to say the remains of the Shattered Grid event, but you really
Remains
did.
works, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but like, did you like get to pick and choose who you wanted to play with in this regard?
Saban was really wonderful because, you know, I was a diehard Power Rangers fan when I was a little girl, but I'm missing about 23 years of continuity.
And there's a lot of continuity.
No. And they were so kind and so patient. You know, when I came to them and, you know, it was like this is a story I think I can tell. If you can help me with the mythology. And, you know, so I told them, like, I need a character like this, you know, this kind of personality that would clash about this would be their values. And they were like, have we got the person for you? You know, and in some cases I came and I was like, actually, I'd really love to have this person. I was like, we can do you one better. And so we worked very closely in order to create a team, you know, that was harmonic in the right places and was discordant in the right places.
Oh, wow, awesome. So let's talk a little bit about like how you got started in the industry.
Sure.
So like you were, I don't want to say understudy, but you worked, you came in through Scott Snyder.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that a little bit?
Sure. I mean, like the ever since I was a little kid, like 4, I knew I wanted to be a writer. This is like back when, like, do you remember the old computer paper where you'd have to pull off like the perforated edges? Yeah. My dad would staple those together for me to illustrate and draw my own children's books and comics books. And so my whole life, like, I kept myself to this very rigorous, you know, thing. It was like I had to write 100 words a day, then 500, then 1,000, then 1,500, then 2,000. And it went on. I graduated from college, and I applied for a graduate school program in creative writing with a novel that I'd written. And at the graduate school, Sarah Lawrence College, there was a graphic novel writing course taught by Scott Snyder. And I was there for novels. Yeah, I was there for prose very specifically. And I just took this as an extracurricular almost. And he really responded to the work that I brought in. And about a year after the course ended, he reached back out to me and, you know, told me, like, I keep thinking about the stories you brought to class. And if this is what you want to do, because it's a very difficult career, I think you're ready to do this professionally. And told me that he could set up an interview for me at DC. And so after that, it's, you know, I have to jump through the hoops of fire and audition and, like, you know, show how do I work with a team? How do I take criticism? How quickly can I hit deadlines? How quickly can I generate new material? How do I write a character that I love? How do I write a character that I hate? You know, it's a big collaborative effort that you just don't get in prose. In prose, you're so solitary.
Yeah, right.
And so this was really like, you know, a team book and then like high-speed publication. Like Donna Tartt wins the Pulitzer all the time. She writes one novel every 10 years and she's a bestseller. Every month you have to have something worthy of publication. And sometimes on multiple titles have it be worthy of publication.
So, all right. So, look, can we talk a little bit about the animosity, though?
Sure.
Like, you like you're teaming up with Legendary?
Yeah. So we were optioned in June with for an animosity movie with Legendary.
Okay, cool. And like, what can you tell us about this so far?
That I'm extremely excited that this is a whole new world that I'm unprepared for and am flopping around in kind of gracelessly right now. But they've been wonderful. Like, you know, I've gotten to go into Legendary and, like, you know, talk to them. And, like, I am technically an executive producer, so I'm learning all about that after, you know, first off the solitary writing thing. And then, like, oh, I work with, like, 6 other people now. Yeah. And then it's, you know, something much vaster. But it's been really wonderful, and I have very high hopes.
That's awesome. So what else can we look forward to in the comic realm? We know the movie's coming out, but, like, is there anything that you can tell us? Right
now, I'm afraid, like, I have to, like, but yeah, there will be some fantastic announcements in 2019. It's going to be a very big, very busy year.
All right, cool. So, Marguerite Bennet, thank you very much.
Absolutely.
It's great having you here. Stop at a comic shop. This is Troy Jeffrey Allen. We're at Baltimore Comic-Con, and we will see you at your spinner rack. And keep an eye out for more from Marguerite.
And thank you to Marguerite Bennet for sitting down and talking with us about Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Animosity, and her plans for an Animosity movie, actually. Ooh. And, you know, talking a little bit about how she got into comics. Like, it's really good to sit down with creators who are enthusiastic about what they're working on. And it totally comes through in everything she talks about. If you're looking for Mighty Morphin Power Rangers number 31, it's possible it'll be at your comic shop right now. So you can pick it up even though it's sold out from the distributor. And if not...
Yeah, if not, the reprint's going to be out November 21st, so keep an eye out if you really want to get your hands on it. It will be back. Do not worry. We want to bring it back to Halloween Comic Fest, which we all know was last weekend. It was pretty cool. We want you guys to know that the costume contest is still open. That's going to be open until November 8th. So put on your costumes, get your comics out, upload those photos, and you can win some really cool stuff.
Cool. And that's it for us this week on Previews World Weekly. We're going to leave you guys with a few shots from Halloween Comic Fest this past weekend. Just a few costumes and just people enjoying the event from different comic shops around the country. I'm Troy Jeffrey Allen.
I'm Thea, and we'll see you at the spinner rack.
watching Previews World Weekly. If you like the show, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future episodes.